Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. On Spectrum there was a load of info recently about network technologies and Star Citizen's integration with them, as well as Vulkan and CPU scaling. Alpha 3.0 does have a load of improvements potentially, but there are some really important ones coming beyond that in the future. So Vulkan integration. Star Citizen will be moving away from DirectX towards Vulkan as its API. This gives it many benefits, with both performance and compatibility. Vulkan is intended to offer high performance and more balanced CPU and GPU usage when compared to DirectX and OpenGL. It offers lower overheads, more direct control over your GPU, lower CPU usage, better scaling on multi-core CPUs, and many other improvements. A Vulkan driver only needs to do GPU-specific optimization and code generation, resulting in easier driver maintenance, and just focusing on Vulkan will allow some better optimization in general for Star Citizen and Squadron 42, rather than splitting their kind of resources over supporting DirectX and others as well. It's multi-platform as well, so it should allow Windows 7, 8, 10, and potentially even Linux to support and play Star Citizen. Vulkan has announced that OpenCL and support for automatic multi-GPU features to be integrated into that Vulkan API as well. So this multi-GPU support removes the need for SLI and Crossfire, which graphics cards required to be the same model and to have the same type of graphics card when you were kind of linking cards together. You can now have potentially an AMD and an Nvidia card, and they'll both add to your gaming performance. They don't need to be linked together with a bridge either. Vulkan instead allows the API to intelligently split the workload between two or more completely different GPUs. Also, the integrated GPUs included on a CPU could also be used in conjunction with this as well, allowing for a slight performance boost. But CIG's Ben Parry confirmed that heaping loads of GPUs in a PC is unlikely to help with gaming performance due to latency and diminishing returns. I personally suspect, though, that they're going to make use of multi-GPU rendering improvements in the future to quite a good effect, where think of maybe a second GPU, even of a different model, will give a notable improvement, and I suppose be more effective and compatible than current SLI and Crossfire. Just don't expect to put 5 GPUs into your PC and get huge gains. In regards to CPU cores and thread utilization, and how many were scaled for Star Citizen, it appears the intention is that the game won't have any kind of hard limit for the number of CPU threads and cores that it will use. It will scale with the number of cores the machine has. They've been working hard to get the game more multi-threaded. There's lots of work for them still to do with that, so while the game is certainly going to perform better with more cores, it won't necessarily be a linear increase with the number of cores. Again here, I suspect a strong single core performance is going to be important, but also the utilization of more cores is extremely beneficial to all i7, i9 and Ryzen users. Alpha 3.0 has moved physics over to another CPU core, and they're starting to make much better uses of the threads already. Alpha 3.0 comes with a slew of potential network improvements too, both server and client-based, but there are still 2 major technologies that are coming beyond that, network bind and unbind in the near future, and server meshing, which is a little further out. There's also loads of other network improvements that they're going to be making, but from Clive Johnson from CIG, he talked about network binding and server meshing. So, network bind, unbind, or bind culling, the network side of this is pretty much done. There was a big refactor on how the network code is structured to allow the server to individually control which entities each client knows about and will receive updates for. Previously, the code just wasn't set up like this, but now that the refactor is complete, actually seeing the benefits of this in the pre-alpha release is still a while off though. To avoid clients experiencing loading stalls each time a new planet or ship comes into view, we'll need the object container streaming system, and that's still being worked on. On top of that, unbinding or streaming out entities on clients is likely to cause a lot of bugs, and it's going to take time to find and fix them. These bugs will arise anywhere code assumes that an entity will be present on a client. For example, consider a mission objective that requires you to talk to Miles Eckhart. To help you find Miles, your client needs to render a marker on your HUD to show his current location, but Miles is on a completely different planet, literally, not figuratively, that currently is streamed out on your PC. So it won't know where to draw the marker. In this situation, the client might crash, but even if you didn't, you'd be unable to progress any further with the mission. To end on a more positive note, though, things are now progressing to a point where we can actually start looking for and fixing these bugs. Server meshing. So this is literally everyone on the same server is the idea of the server meshing, where multiple servers will handle areas of space based on their population. This has not started yet, the actual server meshing tech. Again, in the words of Clive Johnson, our plan was to always make the single server experience better and more optimized first. Server meshing is going to build on the technologies we're creating for single servers, so these all need to be in place before we can start. Also, it's going to be challenging and complex work that will need the focus of the whole network programming team. So once we start to work on it, we don't want to be fighting a war on two fronts. So it's really good to hear where they are with this. In the coming months, they're going to need to optimize and improve the servers and netcode to get as many players on as possible in the same server. The back end of Amazon Web Services allows them for scalable, powerful servers as they need, and this allows them to start preparing for the use of server meshing. Then with a suitable base, it sounds like every dev network based in CIG and Foundry 42 should be working on the server meshing together. So when are we likely to get all these amazing Star Citizen improvements? Well, network bind culling very soon. Expect it possibly as early as 3.1, although basically they're working on it at the moment and it's major for that. Vulkan integration is likely to be next year, with Squadron 42 likely to needing it too, and it sounds like very much so that we will find out more about Vulkan integration and Squadron 42 in the December live stream, a holiday live stream later in the year. CPU and GPU optimization improvements will be made every patch. Server meshing is much more of a beta thing, I expect. Don't expect anything with the actual server meshing being integrated until the earliest 2019, realistically. Though there is a potential as well. I do think it's slim, but I do think that there is a potential that server meshing might not be an appropriate solution for CIG and Foundry 42. In that case, they would explore other options. In regards to more players in a server in the short term though, expect more players in each server with each major patch after 3.0. Potentially 3.0 could have more players than 24, but we won't know exactly how many players they've got into the server and what's stable or not until the actual live build of 3.0. Now, it's important that CIG keep on sharing information about this with us, with their networking, their plans for the future, and that sort of jazz, and I'm glad that they do. This is really important things, especially where it comes to with server meshing, because, yeah, potentially they could explore just having, like, I don't know, 500 or 1,000 players on each server, and then in that case it would be a little annoying for people that want to be in the same area or bounty hunting or whatever, but they would have to explore other options if it doesn't work out. But we'll keep on that, we will keep on it. We will also be looking at lots of different hardware and PC builds in regards to Alpha 3.0 as soon as it goes to the wider PTU. I'm in the opinion that until we have a Vulkan integration, it's worth waiting to build a new PC if it's specifically for Star Citizen. If you're a general gamer or whatever and you want to enjoy 3.0 as well as loads of other games or whatever, build away. But my recommendation is to wait until Vulkan integration if you're going primarily for Star Citizen. That said, you can get some great budget PC performance in the meantime, or just a smaller upgrade. You don't need anything like as major as a 1080. 1070s are pretty good, and there's some great AMD cards as well. Every month we give away a ship for October. It's a Constellation Aquila, Ursa Rover, and P-52 Snub Fighter, all donated by the lovely Stellar Enterprise and in-game org of Star Citizen. Please check out the links below if you're interested in joining an org. All you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during that month to be in for a chance to win. Do you have any questions about the hardware and technical side of Star Citizen or Alpha 3.0, Star Citizen's development in general, Vulkan integration, multi-GPU support, whatever? Just chuck them in the comments below and I'll try and answer some of them, or at least allow them to influence future videos and FAQs. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. The amount of donations and Patreons and love I've had over the last couple of months has been insane, and allow me to build a new PC with a I'll put the specs down below as well. Actually, need to update them in a minute. Thank you so much, guys. It's been awesome. I'm super ready for 3.0 and hopefully CitizenCon 2. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me, and I'll see you in the verse.